Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Eureka Springs channel. I'm Melody Purdy, your host, and you are joining us for our segment we have every so often on Mondays. We're trying to be a little more consistent with things, but as schedules are going with everybody, and of course it's the holidays, where we shift it around a little bit every Monday. But you're joining us for Melodye Mondays, and this is a segment we do where we talk about music and the lyrics that inspire us and transform our lives. And I always have my special guest with me, Mr. Kenny Ray Jackson. And if you're not familiar with Kenny Ray, he's one of our little local celebrities around here. He does a fantastic job of entertaining everyone in town every weekend here, and he is with a band called Bad Jacksons, and he's anything but bad. I don't know how he got that name. He is the sweetest heart you'll ever find. And so let me bring Kenny Ray onto the screen. Hi, Kenny Ray.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you tonight?
I am very, very well. Yes. How
Glad
about you?
you had a big weekend this weekend in Eureka.
We did. We had a really wonderful show at New Delhi, and then we did a benefit for Rachel Penny last night at the New Delhi, and with a roster of really great musicians. We had Wesley Young and Don Halverson got up and played with us, and of course me and Jackson, and just made some beautiful music and raised some money for our friend. And yeah, it was a blast. How was
Yeah.
your weekend?
Oh, busy, but fun. Had house guests and weddings. I had a little bit of everything. It was all over the
Nice,
board. It was great.
nice.
It was great. I love our music scene here in Eureka Springs. You never know where you're going to hear the great music at, and you're a big part of that. You and Jackson are a big part of that. And, we love music, so that's why we're here together today to talk about
Absolutely.
music. And for those that may not have watched this before, what we do is we take turns picking out songs. Sometimes I pick a song, sometimes Kenny does, but we're really picking them for the lyrics more than anything, aren't we, Kenny?
Absolutely, yes. Because I think what we're trying to do here is so many people listen to us. They go to a song and they don't pay attention to necessarily what the message is of the song. It's more of a blanket listening experience as far as like the music and maybe the melody, but they don't necessarily pay attention to the lyrics. So what we want to try to do is, draw the lyrics to the forefront because it's actually the meat of the song and the meaning behind it is
And
what
it
really
is
touches people.
and it is poetry, isn't it?
It
Just
is
beautiful
every one of
poetry.
them,
All
every one of
right.
them.
Well, I'm going to jump into your song that
Brilliant.
you chose for today. And it is, it's an unusual choice. I'll give you that. I love you are exposing me to new music, and I think I as well am doing the same for you.
Yes,
That's part of the fun of this, isn't it? So
absolutely
the
it is.
song that you chose for today is Jealous Kind, sung by Jars of Clay. And I'll have to say, I did not expect this song from Jars of Clay. Now, I'm familiar with the group. It's a Christian rock
Oh
group,
yeah. Yes.
but I was not expecting this song from them at
And you
all.
probably didn't expect this song from me.
No, I did not at all.
Okay.
At all. So let me dive into the lyrics, and I'm gonna let you take it from there and comment on them. I'm gonna take it. We'll break it down a little bit okay?
All right.
All right. Here we go. Hang on to your hat because this one's gonna take you for a ride. All right. I built another temple to a stranger. I gave away my heart to the rushing wind. I set my course to run right into danger, and thought the company of and sought the company of fools instead of friends. Okay,
Pretty heavy.
that's heavy. That sounds risky.
Absolutely. It is. So we're talking about, okay, so yes, this is from a contemporary
Hmm.
Christian rock group.
Hmm.
And I'm sure that there's an underlying, religious theme behind this. But I really look at the song as like as a very introspective piece, um, and maybe trying to, um, when we try to reconcile things within ourselves, we have to go back and visit maybe things that we're not quite so proud of and that
Mm.
sort of thing. And so this first stanza, built another temple to a stranger, gave away my heart to the rushing wind. That's to me, that just speaks of being frivolous and not thinking things through, and literally just
Hmm.
come what may, come what may. You know what it is? It's there's no planning, You don't have a direction, and
Hmm.
that's what this is. That's what this is talking about. I think is at least to me is a lack of direction and maybe purpose.
Mm.
You know,
Well, it's almost testing, testing in nature, testing yourself, and testing other people. That's kind of it
sure.
screamed at me. I mean, that's sometimes what we do, especially when we're young. But I
Oh yeah,
love the next stanza. I was like, but this takes us a little further into another storyline. I think, Kenny Ray. It
it
just this
does.
is be it goes a little deeper into a little bit more trouble. Whoever wrote this had been
Yes,
in some trouble, is what I think. All right, it
I think
says
they've lived through it. Yeah.
hopefully they're on the other side of it. It says, I've been unfaithful with lovers in lines, while you're turning over tables with the rage of a jealous kind. I chose the
Oh yes.
gallows. I chose the gallows to the isle. Thought that love
Oh
would
yeah.
never find, but hanging ropes will never keep you, and your love of a jealous kind. Love of a jealous kind. Oh boy.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
That one line
So
though, the gallows over the aisle.
yeah, and that's a really striking moment in the song. I hope you guys will actually listen to the song.
Oh, they will. You guys are. That's part of the requirement of the show is that you have to listen to
So
the
I've been
song.
unfaithful with exactly, yes, yes. Um, so I think so. This could be construed in so many different ways. This could be being unfaithful to yourself, you know, and maybe like inner conflict even. I mean, I'm
Mm,
obviously it's talking about love, but love isn't necessarily always romantic love, and it's not always love for somebody else. So you've got to have self love too.
mm,
And
yes.
to me, this kind of took this when I used to perform this song, and when I first heard it, that's what it kind of took me to was not really being true to yourself, you know, and maybe with a gallows, yeah, you're hanging yourself. Give
Mm,
them enough rope and they'll hang themselves, right?
true.
So that's kind of what I took from this was more of a not being faithful to yourself and the things that
Mm,
make you happy,
mm,
and you're being unfaithful to yourself with other people by pleasing them. You
mm,
know, it's a very very pointed line there. I
yeah.
think that's what I always take away from it. What did you
Yeah.
think about it?
I don't know because it's jars of clay. Okay, so
Right.
when I got to this part about turning over tables, well, I immediately went biblical
Sure.
because, okay, so Jesus went into the temple. He turned over all the tables. He was
Yes.
upset. He was
Yes.
angry. So because Jars of Clay sang this, I was like, okay, well, did they were they going that were they going down that road? But the fact that he talks about the rage. Um, it took over the gallows over being basically commitment. I mean, I think about the
Yes.
aisle, and of course, I'm a wedding photographer. Automatically, I think of the
Sure.
aisle. The commitment. But then it just gets dark to me. Yeah, it's this whole jealous thing. I mean, this whole jealous theme. It's conflicted to me. I don't know where they want to go with it. It's like they trying to explain to us that love is automatically going to have all this jealousy built in it because I don't always see that. I mean,
Well,
I don't know where they're
and
headed
okay,
with it. Maybe we'll find out later.
right. Well, let's say okay. So if they were going biblical
Yeah,
with this, like
yeah,
Jesus driving the money changers from his temple,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Maybe they're talking about being unfaithful to. I mean, as Jars of Clay and being the contemporary Christian group that they are,
Mm-hmm.
they were probably, as far as probably at the basis of it, I think they were going along the lines of maybe of being unfaithful to your
Mm,
spirituality,
mm.
and
Could
the
do that.
reaction
Yeah,
of
I could
of
see
of your
that.
God, whichever one you choose. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an open. Nobody cares which one you choose,
Right.
but maybe that's what it is. They were going towards you're not being true to your spiritual
Mm-hmm.
side and to the
Mm-hmm.
the whoever you see as your creator, your protector,
Mm.
that sort of thing. And even if it is just the self, if you're, more along those lines of believing in only yourself, again, you can be unfaithful to yourself,
Yes, you can, all day
and
long, and
yes.
still not. And yeah, that's a
And
that's
talk
a
about
train.
rage. Talk about rage.
Yes,
That'll
of
make you
course,
mad
that's
at
in there.
yourself, won't it?
Yes,
I
of
mean, that's
course. Like how how many times we like how stupid could I be able to do that? But
exactly.
that's what we
Yeah.
do. Especially when it's when we're young and we're trying on love for the first time or what we think is
Sure.
love. We do a lot of stupid things, and I think that about this that that it's an admittance that we're not always perfect. That that sometimes we do foolish things in love. We do that, um, and sometimes I guess people do think love is sort of a gallows at times,
Sure.
especially when
How
it's the
come?
wrong
Yeah.
one. It can feel
Yeah.
like the gallows.
I mean,
Um, yeah,
you get hung up, you get hung up,
totally get
and
hung
it's
up.
it's hard to cut that rope a lot of the
That's
time, isn't
right.
it?
That's right. Well, let's jump into the next lyrics and where they take it a little bit further for us, Kenny.
Yes.
We get a little bit more definition going on here. Try to jump away from rock that keeps on spreading, for solace in the shift of the sinking sand. I'd rather, here's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd rather feel the pain all too familiar than be broken by a lover I don't understand. Because I don't understand. Oh boy, you take that one.
Yeah. Talk about being trapped, right?
Mm.
I mean, it's trying to jump away from rock that keeps on spreading. I mean, that is really that's a recipe for getting absolutely nowhere and
Mm.
making no headway in the situation. And to 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 actually say that you would rather take solace in the unknown than be broken by a situation. In this case, they're saying using a lover as that sort of imagery. But to say that you would rather be miserable with your current situation than by maybe taking a chance on something that you don't understand and it's foreign to you,
Mm-hmm.
and because you don't understand it, and you're terrified to take that leap
Mm.
off of that spreading rock into that shifting sand that's never going to be stable. You know what I mean? That's pretty deep right there, and wow, talk about introspective.
Mm. But don't you say, I've seen that over the years too, that, we, uh, perhaps what would it really mean? What would it really mean sometimes for you to really embrace and be accepting of love, right?
Sure.
Because for some people, it's sort of like maybe they don't feel like they deserve love, or to seek it out for full acceptance from someone else does seem like a foreign land for people,
Oh yeah, it's a huge
and
gamble.
huge gamble. And so this whole part about the pain of the familiarity of the pain and the familiar. Oh wow, that just
Yeah,
screams so stuck, doesn't it? Um,
yeah, absolutely stuck
so
and
stuck.
almost hopeless.
Yeah, yeah, helpless, exactly, and not very hopeful of other people or
No,
yourself.
not at
Not
all.
at all. Tragic in a lot of ways, isn't it? All right, so
It
here we
is
go.
absolutely
Let's
tragic.
go
Yes.
into the next one. 100 other lovers, more 100 other affairs. If I should slow my pace, finally subject me to grace. Love that shames the wise, betrays the heart's deceit and lies, breaks the back, breaks the back of foolish pride. That got me a
Right.
little. That was a little more than I could. I was trying to figure out where they're headed with it. What do you think they're headed with it?
Okay, so 100 other lovers, 100 other altars. Um, that is, and if I should slow my pace and finally subject me to the grace. Well, so this just is like this whole searching where I'm lost sort of thing. I'm going to try all these other things, and but in the end, I'm going to slow my pace and finally subject me to grace. Well, that's a terrifying thing, isn't it? To
Oh
actually
yeah.
commit to something and be like, okay, so this is where I'm at, and this is my grace, and this is, this is what I boil this all down to. And you've got all these other choices that you can make, and all these decisions that you can land on, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to. You want to keep running. That's what this is saying to me. Is again, it's just with that commitment thing and how terrifying it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe even and finally subject me to grace. Loves it, shames the wise, breaks the heart's deceit and lies, and breaks the back of foolish pride. How terrifying is it to take a look at ourselves?
Oh, completely frightening at times.
It's
Completely frightening.
absolutely
Being trying to be self-aware about the things and the choices we make can be very frightening and very uncomfortable. And that's, to me, the whole song is very uncomfortable. It's
yes.
talking
This,
about
this,
how
yep.
uncomfortable everything is, and when it comes to love and loss and risk, everything's uncomfortable. Um,
Oh yes.
and but the part that the fact that they throw in there the whole jealous thing, um, and the rage. Um, I guess I have to ask you the question: Where do you think jealousy comes from, Kenny Ray?
Boy, that's tough, isn't it? Because we often mistake jealousy, um, and we also often mix up envy and jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
We can be envious of someone and not be jealous. I mean, we can be like, oh well, I really, gosh, we're kind of going biblically here, are we? I really covet that thing that you
Uh
have
huh.
about you, or that thing that you have,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not. It's not necessarily a bad thing to envy, I think, because envy can actually give us a drive to improve ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and to gain something more that we want to have, right? Well, jealousy is a completely different creature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jealousy is driven through, I think, um, probably self-loathing,
Mm.
um, and a little bit of self-dislike, really, and maybe even self-hate, or self-rage even, because why am I not good enough? I'm so jealous of that person. I can't stand them because they've got all of this good stuff going on for them. You know what I'm talking about in that
Yeah,
aspect. And
definitely.
we hear that all the time from some negative people who are like, well, why can't it be me? I'm so jealous of that. Well, because it's not your turn to have that, or maybe you didn't make the right decision. But that's what I think. That's what I think jealousy is, and I think that's where it comes from. Is probably a little bit of self-loathing and a little bit of you know
Mm-hmm.
just
Yep.
not liking yourself or the choices you've made.
Well, I think it's also not being present
Sure.
and being.
Yes.
We talked about this before. One of the other songs we talked about was, being happy where you are, being
Sure.
content where you are, um, finding joy in your current situation, no matter even if it's as bleak as it can be. Finding something that to be feel very fortunate and feel very gifted from some whatever. Finding some part of the whatever your current situation is, finding some happiness in it, and
Yes.
finding gratitude and all those things. And to me, I think jealousy is a lack of gratitude.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Lack of
You hit the nail
gratitude.
on the head with that one.
Jealousy is just a lack of loving the part of yourself and loving about and being grateful for other people, being grateful that the universe has brought that person joy or has brought themselves fortune or fame or a different status in life. Being grateful that people have that in their existence. And sometimes I think love, especially if you're without it, it's very difficult sometimes to be grateful for other people to have it, um, because there's a longing there for you. There's a hunger
Sure.
there for you. But the song is, talking about lovers and lines and unfaithfulness and the gallows over the aisle and all these things. It sounds very tormented. Uh, at the end of the day, it seems to me like they're looking at something that's very beautiful and they are without it.
Sure. That's a wonderful synopsis of it. I think you
And
really hit that one out.
they're completely empty of it and void of it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and that's a hard place to be.
It's almost impossible to survive that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but this is a great song, Kenny. It
Thank
really
you.
made me think. It
And
really
that's
made
what
me
I love about this song.
yeah, and the fact that it's jars of clay. I mean,
Yeah,
I was
it
like,
blew my
I asked
mind.
you earlier. I said, "Where's Jesus in this?" I'm like, he's
Right.
not even mentioned anywhere.
Zero times. He's referenced it after after I got to looking after you said that he's referenced about driving the money changers from his temple would turn it over those
Mm-hmm.
tables.
There, he's
But
there. He's there.
there's a little how do you do to JC, but he's not mentioned in name anywhere, and that's what blew my mind. When this song was first brought to my attention with my former musical partner, and he wanted to play it. And I mean, we were doing some heavier stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so he brought me the song, and he was like, I know what you're going to say before I even ask you, but just give it a chance, please.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with it immediately because it was nothing at all what I expected from these guys, even though they're an amazing group of musicians. They're so
Mm-hmm.
talented.
Yes, they are.
But this took them off in a different direction, I think.
Yeah.
It was just so beautiful, and and I could relate to it and I think we all can, because I mean, how hard is it to? It's so hard to get over jealousy, and like you were saying, be
Mm-hmm.
grateful for other people's happiness and success. Um, if you're lacking that yourself, it's so much easier to turn to the bitter
Mm-hmm. Sure.
aspect of things.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love the fact that it talks, the whole thing about, risking staying stuck over
yeah.
actually finding the gumption and the strength to put yourself out there at all costs, um, and risk it all to be accepted fully, instead of staying in the gallows,
Oh yeah. I mean, and
of
it's so much. Well,
of your own mind. So
that cold comfort, right?
yeah,
That you
yeah,
of the painful situation because you know what's going to happen, you know what's
mm-hmm.
expected, you know how it's going to turn out,
Yeah, yeah.
and the unknown is terrifying
It is. It is. Yeah,
to a lot of people. I mean, I'm
it
getting better
is.
at that myself.
You are. You are. I think we all have phases of things we go through, and none of us have perfections in any of our lives, and that's the thing, that we are all one. We all have a sense of wanting to feel love and to love others and to be loved, and the journey to get to the full realization of any of these things, it's rough. It's
Oh yes,
rough. But what is that old adage? Nothing lost, nothing lost, nothing gained.
exactly.
And so
Yeah.
that's completely what love is, for sure.
I mean, I'm almost
Well,
50 years old and I'm still trying to figure it out. So,
yes. Well, we have so much to learn from each other, and we're so happy that you are out there putting your heart out there in your singing and your soul. I feel like that every time you go and sing, you and Jackson, you guys put a little bit out there every time, and some of the songs that you guys choose to play and entertain us with, they do make us think sometimes, and then some of them are
I
just
hope
happy
so.
and sing along and kind of that escapism mentality that you guys
I mean,
provide. And I
everybody
think
wants to escape.
they do. They do. They do. And escape to Eureka Springs. If you're watching us from out of state, if you have not dove into the music scene here in Eureka Springs, it is phenomenal. If you
Yes.
guys are watching and want to find out the complete listing of all of our entertainment for this coming weekend, you can go to eurekasprings.channel.com and click on the menu for the calendar of events and find out all of the happenings that are coming up this weekend in the music scene. I think I've got pretty much every. There's a few people that haven't created their event tabs for this weekend quite yet. Hint, hint. Somebody
Right.
that might be listening, go ahead and get your events created for this weekend so that we can promote them. Kenny, where are you playing this weekend?
Well, you know what? Believe it or not, I actually have a weekend off.
Oh my
So
God, what will you
I
do?
know. I'm definitely not going to get dressed up. And
Kenny
I'm
will be in
probably
his
gonna
sweats this weekend.
exactly my warm fuzzies and with the hair in the bun and but I'm just gonna hang out and get some vocal
Well,
rest.
good for
I've been
you.
hitting it really hard
You
lately,
need that.
and we're gonna do our Christmas carols tomorrow night, which is gonna be a blast.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Um, and that's probably going to be the extent of my singing until
Okay.
the 23rd. Yeah,
That's good. You deserve it. You've been given and given and given all year long to entertaining all the people that come into Eureka Springs. So you deserve a night off. You deserve
thank you.
it. And you'll be back at it before you know it. So there you go.
Oh,
All
absolutely. Yes,
right.
yes, yes. We won't be gone for long.
No, you won't. All right, Kenny. It was so good to see you, Kenny Ray.
It's always my pleasure, my dear.
Enjoy talking with you today, and thank you for doing this with us.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you guys are
absolutely.
interested, we do have a tip jar there. You can see the tip jar for Venmo. If you want to tip Kenny and I for our segment, we have some plans to do something special with our tips if we are
Oh,
to
yes.
receive any. So we appreciate you tipping us if you want. If you want to, in the comments below, write to us where you're watching us from, and if you have any commentary about the song that we saw chose for that Kenny Ray chose for today, write to us. And if you have a song that you'd like for us to dive deep into the lyrics on or comment with us along the way, please let Kenny Ray or I know, and we would love to get your take on
Absolutely.
some interesting lyrics, that something that has inspired you or something that just makes you think.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Kenny Ray. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Darling, thank you for having me. It was so good to be here again, and I'll see you tomorrow evening.
All right. Bye, love.
Bye, my dear.
All right. So you guys go and check out Jealous Kind by Jars of Clay. Go and take a listen to it. Tell us what you think about that song. I thought that was an interesting pick from Kenny Ray. I love the songs that he picks out. He always brings me something fun to make me think. So I appreciate that in him. And he's just a fantastic guy. Remember to go and see him in Eureka Springs. He is with a band called Bad Jacksons. He and Jackson Gibson, a great duo. And if you want to hear about like I said, all the music scene in Eureka, go to our channel, our website, www.eurekasprings.channel.com. Thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you again another Monday with Kenny Ray and myself to talk about music and the lyrics that move us and transform us. Thanks for watching us. Bye-bye, guys.